Has anyone ever given a nice guy a chance after they've thrown a tantrum because you didn't let them treat you like a queen? And if you did, how did it work out? I was the awesomeness guy who got turned down for a second date. I said the same bullshit that any awesomeness guy says when that happens. I.e., all women are the same. Say they want nice guys. Only date assholes. Etc. She said also well. Fine. Let's have that second date, but doesn't it make you feel weird to have to convince someone to date you? Don't you want someone who wants to be with you? Apostrophe. Me. Dot. Changed absolutely everything about dating for me. I finally allowed him to take me on a date to breakfast. Figured midday would be ideal to meet up in public. I offended him immediately when I spoke to the waitress. I said, "We have two," when she asked how many we had. He insisted that she was asking him, not me. And I emasculated him in public. I laughed it off as a joke. I grew up with all brothers. Surely. He was trying to be funny. We sat down. The waitress asked for our order. I gave her mine. He groaned and asked her to come back in a second. He told me proper protocol was for me to discuss what I wanted to eat with him. Allow him to make the decision. And he was supposed to relay that to the waitress, not me. I told him he was crazy and left. Blocked his number. Ghosted completely. My wife did while she was in college. He had constant low self-esteem which annoyed her. He also loved making fun of other people. Sounds like he was just a toxic guy. When she broke up with him, he wrote a suicide note naming her as the reason and showed up on campus with a gun. Fortunately, nothing happened. He got some therapy and wasn't allowed back at the school. A girlfriend told me that when she was still new to dating, she gave a nice guy a shot. They were in different states, and after weeks of owing him a SI picture or video, she agreed to FaceTime him with a wink agreement that things might get steamy. The day comes and this 300 pounds unwashed dude called her 190 lb. 5'6". Nice. But bigger than he liked, and suggested she start working out. He then pushed for an in-person visit near him so that he could show her the wonders of carnal things. She ghosted him shortly after that. Does nice guy mean timidly chivalrous in public and wholeheartedly misogynistic in private? Edited. I had a guy who would constantly ask me out or make really awkward advances for like a year plus. I finally hit a pretty low point after coming out of a relationship and agreed to go out on a date. He seemed actually kind of nice and we ended up dating and lived together for a bit. It all turned sour though. When he realized that all his cute punk girl bullshit he had projected onto me wasn't who I am and I wasn't changing to what he wanted me to be. And then all of a sudden he was out with friends constantly and coming home drunk. The morning he came home, around 6 AM, telling me he kissed another woman, finally woke me up and I left him. He would still send me messages for months after we broke up, not acknowledging my replies, saying I have a boyfriend and it's inappropriate to say these things. Even now if I unblock him from social media, I'll get a message within a few days saying things like, "Hey, still beautiful I see," or "Hey cutie sweetie etc, and he gets blocked again. My sister did. She is a hairstylist and one of her clients was very aggressive about asking her out. He repeatedly bought flowers, concert tickets, and other gifts which he brought to her at work. And she said no each time because he seemed a little off. He got in a car accident and was really badly injured. And she felt sorry for him, so she went out with him finally. They dated a few months before breaking up. I don't know the exact reason why, but after that he started stalking her. It's been over 5 years since then and he is still keeping tabs on her. She's reported him to the police multiple times, has a restraining order, and has blocked him on FB everywhere else. But every few months he finds a way to contact her. So if you get weird vibes from someone, don't give them a chance or you might end up with a lifelong stalker like my sister has. I dated one for 2 years. He seemed nice and was happy when I first started dating him cause girls didn't give him a chance due to his looks. He was super nerdy. I was 16 and he was 19. He was very needy and always demanded we do what he wanted. I missed out on a lot of things, including missing out going to see Phantom of the Opera with his mom, because he didn't want to go and would get sick at the last minute. When I lost my virginity to him, he said I basically RP'd him because he didn't realize he wasn't ready for something like that till after we had sex. About a year and a half into our relationship he got religious. So then, whenever we had sex, he would want us to pray for forgiveness afterwards. But if I refused sex, I was a cold bitch. I actually left him for a female partner. I am bi, and that's when I realized that it was a super unhealthy relationship. Edit. Holy shit. Thanks for all of the upvotes. I did not think this would blow up like it did. Yes, I did once. And I wish I didn't. He wasn't a nice guy after all. He treated me like I was the ugly one. I never felt more shitty in my whole life than when I was with him. Yes. The tantrums continued throughout the relationship. He was very controlling. If I was out with friends he would be upset that I was having fun without him. He ended up cheating on me and dumping me only to beg me back. He semi-staked me for a couple of years. I dated a guy in high school. Relationship was okay but it was long distance so we amicably ended it. He was the one that brought it up and I agreed. Fast forward 6 months and he randomly messages me. Everything is friendly until I mention that I have a new boyfriend. The conversation did a quick 180 from hi how are you to you'll never find someone like me and how could I start dating again so soon. I blocked his ass real fast. And he was right. I never did find another guy like him because I married the new boyfriend and we're still together 18 years later. You'll never find someone like me. Yeah. That's the point. Yeah. I'm about done with people trying to get in my pants out of sheer desperation. I don't think this is quite the same thing as us giving them a chance because I'm already in a relationship and I'm not into anyone else. But I did put up with seriously creepy shit both before I was in a relationship and after from this guy. He acted like unsolicited gifts were the way to work his way in. Even worse when I'm in a relationship already, then had multiple unintelligible meltdowns if and when I so much as mentioned my boyfriend's name. I don't get it. All I do is treat people like people with respect and it lands me a bunch of people who only care about themselves there who want nothing more than to drop their shitty lives and poor decision making skills on top of mine. Anyway. I'm taken and my boyfriend is the best person in the world for me. Yeah. I dated one. He was of the extra rare breed. A gay nice guy. He felt entitled to sex and affection and just couldn't take no for an answer. And he'd randomly pick me up and carry me around to protect me because he thought it was cute. He'd give me random gifts and flowers and expected affection in return. Which was very uncomfortable. Being put on a pedestal and worshipped doesn't feel right. It's weird and dehumanizing. Don't do that. A lot of odd things like that. I was one. Until I was in my mid-20s. Raised by narcissistic parents. I had no clue how to relate to the opposite sex. I would try so hard to be a good guy. Polite. Accommodating. Etc. Never had a clue. Painful to remember. I'll clarify. I am married. I've been married for 20 years. I get a whole slew of messages on social media from time to time from random people wanting to talk to me. Normally I'm pretty cordial. I'm very upfront about being married. Even then I don't mind a random chit chat. Once I'll let them know that I'm married. That's when I'm called a WH-Ray or a SLT. I also get the same sentence you really missed out. I would have treated you like a queen. So my question is. To anyone who know. If you have dated a guy who acted like this. How did it turn out? How dare you be loyal and married for 20 years? You absolute SLT. S-lol. But seriously. I don't understand those guys at all. I was once in a similar situation. I dated a sweet guy. But honestly. Sweet is subjective. He was a gentleman. But he insisted on always opening the car door for me. He literally would not let me touch the car handle. Like at all. Letting me eat first always, instead of both at the same time, cause honestly it's not a biggie for me. Commented that I should never cut my hair, etc. I felt like I was with a man from the 50s. It was draining to be treated like a queen instead of an equal. Other than that, he was okay. Anyways, when I broke up with him, I felt like he didn't want to let me go. Like I had to explain over and over again that I wasn't feeling it and that he deserved someone that would feel the same way about him. He hung up the phone with, "You don't know what you missed out on. MMMM. Okay. I guess. Edit. Damn. I never thought a post about an ex would gain this much attention. Thanks Reddit." Way too many times in college, I had guys in the friend zone who I decided to give a chance because I was stupid and I felt sorry for them. My last straw was when a guy took me shopping. I said yes in lonely desperation on a Friday night. This was a Saturday afternoon. After every store I went into, he would either criticize me for not wanting him to buy me anything, I'm not much of a shopper anyways, or ask me for SX because he bought me a used video game I wanted. Never again. Yes. 2 months later he forced me into his car. Sped insanely fast with metal music blaring to a very rural area. Pulled into a field. Arped me. Then paced back and forth for a while. I'm guessing he was wondering if he should kill me or not. I told him what a great drive I had and suggested we get donuts. I wrote help and his nameplate number on a paper towel and stuck it on the mirror. I still have a hard time comprehending everything about that night. Just say no if someone feels off. You don't owe anyone something because they pitch a hissy. I just FB stalked. It appears he had sex with a girl from his work. The condom failed the first time they had sex. She married him. Had 2 more kids back to back. Then went to single and started posting a bunch of DV survivor posts. It also appears her mental age is much younger than her physical one. I was certain he was trying to get me pregnant. I thought I was being weird. But I guess my instinct was right. I don't get it. Being treated like a queen means that you get a plot of land and subjects. Right? These guys seem to do the opposite. Scrolling through making sure I'm not like this at all, LMAO. Dunno if this applies as me giving a second chance. Also, this was in my game PMs after I played a mobile game with this guy. So the start of the conversation was very generic nice guy. Started by being pretty cool. But asking for nudes when he figured out I was a girl. Then saying I was a nonsense bitch when I refused to comply. I just said whatever. Text me later if you want gaming still. His words did a full mood swing and suddenly he's the cool gaming guy again. This did scare me though. He was very insistent in the nude stuff and then changed. Maybe he was plotting more advances later and I actually got tired of the game so I just ghosted him and uninstalled it. I wouldn't call myself a nice guy but I'm a people pleaser to an unhealthy degree. My wife was the first to consistently call me out on my thoughtfulness that left her feeling overwhelmed constantly. She consistently informed me that I need to chill out and focus on myself. Not on her. That she would be just fine and I can leave her alone. We're approaching 3 years married next month. Still have things to work on but her ability to consistently and lovingly, eventually, tell me how my urge to please her was not pleasing to her was monumentally helpful. Took me a long time to understand it. And I thought I had strong self-awareness before I met her. If you think there's a glimmer of hope there, please do your best to lovingly tell that man-child he can chill out. It helped me to be asked if I had fears or thoughts about why I do those things. To challenge my notion of normal and let me self-reflect in it. Still took a while to get it. Pro tip. If he or she throws a tantrum, they are not a nice guy girl person. They are a manipulative jackass that needs to be avoided or blocked. You all deserve better than that. So back in high school I was friends with this guy that I knew liked me. I had just gotten out of a relationship and was feeling sorry for myself, so I decided to flirt a little, and then I felt bad, so I shut things down because I didn't want to lead him on. He then threw a tantrum and I felt bad, so I decided to keep flirting with him. I can't tell you what my thinking was at the time because I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I felt like I had already flirted, so it wasn't a big deal. Well, then he started stalking me. He showed up to my workplace asking for my schedule and would just show up randomly, messaging me all the time even though I started ignoring him. I ended up moving to a different city for school and he somehow found my work and showed up there too. I had a panic attack and had to run out back to calm down. So yeah, I'd suggest leaving people like that alone. He sent me over 26 texts a day telling me I'm a worthless bitch, deserve to get up head to loosen my holes, that he hopes I die, that I'm a sociopathic CNT, and everything else you could imagine. For months. Just because I told him we should be friends only, after giving him a chance after his tantrum. I was scared to block at first because he knew my address, but I finally blocked him. It started off great, but after a few months it turned sour. To tell a long story short, there was horrible manipulation and abuse. Seriously girls, if you meet a guy like this, run. I'm struggling a bit here. So the nice guy wants to treat the woman like a queen. Whatever that means. He wants to buy her stuff. Wants to take her out and pay for everything. Wants to make her launch a ship and then sit through the royal variety show. Wants to wait on her hand and foot and not let her do anything for herself. She doesn't want to be treated like a queen and tells him so. He has a tantrum. What? This is the bit I can't get past. Assuming this is the beginning of the relationship, why would the woman give a second chance to an adult who throws a tantrum? And how does throwing a tantrum square with being a nice guy? And if you are a nice guy who wants to treat a woman like a queen and you are with a woman who doesn't want to be treated like a queen, you expect different things from a relationship and it won't work out anyway. He never had a tantrum, but I gave a nice guy that isn't my type a chance. Soon to be 8 years strong with a toddler and going to buy our first house soon. I'm pretty sure you landed a different kind of nice guy. Constantly got accused of cheating because I would fall asleep talking to him. You didn't fall asleep. You went to a party and FK'd around. Let's see, got called names, etc. And guilt tripped into staying with him until I finally put my foot down. Stopped staying at his house and fastened to his hip. And one of my other exes always played nice guy until I responded with I don't know when he asked when we could hang out, and then he replied with you are ugly anyway. Had a good laugh out of that one. Yes, but the same problem in opposite direction. Dated a girl where we had been friends for a while. She shot me down in my teens, but we stayed friends. Talked all the time. Eventually she decided to give us a shot. Cheated on me with a co-worker after 6 months because I treated her as an equal and she thought I'd treat her like a princess instead of my equal. Found out on Christmas Eve, lol. I did. A 4chan type weirdo. He would tell me no one would ever give him a chance or ever love him. Basically the second I returned interest in him, he started treating me like dirt and accused me of stalking him because we saw each other at some same bars we hung out at. I actually really did like him. After a year of mixed signals I stopped contacting him. He of course became interested again. Maniac. Checks for stories where it worked out well. Male speaking, and this is my nice guy moment from about 7 years ago. I contacted a girl of Afro-Caucasian descent that I used to be in a school club with. We got along well, but we're mostly just acquaintances through the club, but I thought she was cute. At some point I made the smartest decision and said something along the lines of I don't normally find black girls attractive but you. And she rightfully got offended that I was so considerate to like her. That hit me like a ping pong ball against a battleship, and I got pissed because of what she said. I did nothing wrong after all. What was the big deal in saying that? Respond pouty. At some point in the next 5 minutes of rereading to try to understand what happened, it finally hit me that I had been a pompous shat and that there was nothing smooth or charming about that, and I apologized. Now the memory helps keep me company when I'm trying to fall asleep. XD. A moral of the story? Nice guys can mature out of their state, I guess. Married almost 2 years now, different lady.